always have help. Toastmasters support Toastmasters, and that's so true in Speechcraft. And so many people can walk away with credit. So this is not something that just one person can walk away from with just one item. No, several people, depending on the number of people you have in your Speechcraft, you can have like 3 people can walk away with credit towards their DTM. That's what I'm talking about. That's win, win, win. Okay, who else do we have joining us today? Yes, hi Luz.
Someone from my club is asking to come in, and she's asking for a password. I don't have a password. I just entered straight.
Okay, Chandra?
She's on her phone.
If she clicks on the link on the email, I mean, she should be straight inside, you know, this meeting. But let me check the password.
That's what I told her, and she says she's on her phone, so she can't.
Hello, here's the password from the calendar. It's 392972. Let me type it in.
Yeah, put it on the chat window, Latanya. That's one.
392
972.
972. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And since we always want to hear from Cheryl Warren, our past district director. Cheryl, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, family. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the training.
Well, fantastic. Cynthia's awesome with that. Cheryl, do you have any words that you can share regarding Speechcraft, something that can let our guests know what they're in for?
Cynthia Abdon has done a fantastic job in the last 2, 3, probably 10 years. She's allowed me to be a part of a couple of them. I always enjoy working with Cynthia. She's such a perfectionist, and she has such a passion with just our members and helping people. It is an opportunity, certainly, for anybody, as you guys will see this morning, the way Cynthia presents the information. She's going to present it, but if you see her do it, it's even better. Just being a part of something, the synergy of helping other people helps everybody. So I'm excited about so many people on the line getting the training.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. And thank you for being here for additional support. We have several new people that have joined the meeting. Everyone, if you can please rename yourself. What we would like you to do in front of your name, if you can put a 1 for a corporate club, 2 for a community club. So 1 if you're corporate, 2 if you're community. And how do you rename yourself? Let's talk about it. One of the ways that you can rename yourself is to go at the very bottom of your screen where you see mute. Then stop video, keep going to the right. There's security. Then you're going to click on participants. Click on participants. Then you're going to see everyone in the meeting. Simply click on your name. Then you're going to see more. Then select rename. So please make sure we can see your name, your first name, your last name, and then put a 1 for a corporate club, put 2 for a community. If you need any help, please let us know and we can help you.
Thank you, Charla. That was amazing. You know, Charla, from 8:30 to 9 o'clock, I mean, you might have seen how much of energy she brings into the room. She's always amazing. Charla, well done. Good job. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing this part. And now this is about time to start our Speechcraft. And I wanted to introduce our presenter today, but you might have heard from Sharon. She already introduced her. She talked about, hello? Okay, I think Sharon, you're already sharing. Cynthia? Okay. Cynthia, I think you're already presenting your screen. Just want to let you know, okay? All right. So our presenter for this morning, she is an extremely passionate about Speechcraft. If you had known her, she had given like 200 Speechcraft so far. Cynthia, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just joking. But she's been doing this for such a very long time. And she believes that the success in motivating non-Toastmasters to joining clubs come from educating these non-Toastmasters to the fundamentals of public speaking. And please help me welcome our District 56 Speechcraft Chair, Distinguished Toastmasters, Cynthia Stephanie Abdon. Cynthia, it's all yours.
Self. Good morning, everybody. Morning. Welcome to the Speechcraft training. Yay. Is everybody excited to know more about Speechcraft? And this is the time to find out what you can learn and how to coordinate one. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all of you, and thank you to our club growth directors giving me the chance to present this today, and to the rest of the district officers. I would like to welcome our dignitaries. We have, of course, Chandra, who is our club growth director, and we also have our past district director, Cheryl Warren. Welcome to the Speechcraft training. And to all of you who are supposed to be taking it easy on a Saturday, you decided to show up, but it will be worth it. I just want you to know that. Okay, so before we even got started, we had Charla entertaining everybody as they come in, and Latonya and Chandra making sure that everybody gets in the right way and not get disconnected. Thank you all for doing that. What a way to start a Saturday morning. Oops, let me go. I'm showing the pictures, okay, here. For some reason, it went straight to the end of the, let me show you okay, here. Now, I'm sure all of you are what we call enthusiasts in growing membership in your clubs, areas, and divisions within District 56. I would also call each one of you a mover and a shaker. And with all of this motivation going on, the end result will be for you to earn your DTM later on when you coordinate a Speechcraft. Now, what is a Speechcraft? Let's talk about the overview. It is a 4, 6, or 8 session workshop on the fundamentals of public speaking in a friendly club meeting environment. You're talking about training non-Toastmasters on the fundamentals of public speaking. The terminology used for non-Toastmasters are, they're called Speechcrafters. And during the Speechcraft, they learn all the skills that you can see on the screen. First of all is to get the nervousness out of them, the fear of public speaking, by getting them involved in impromptu speaking or table topics. And then they learn how to organize the speech and do an icebreaker. They also learn how to evaluate, how to introduce, how to get to the point, how to use vocal variety, body language, and visual aids, how to be prepared before they finally would give that speech they have been preparing for, and how to plan, organize, and lead and participate during the club meetings. This is what I call test driving the Toastmasters experience. Now, the course objectives are as follows. You will gain more on how the Speechcraft is all about and its benefits as we go through the session. You will be able to identify what types of markets that you can promote the program on. And you will also learn the mechanics on how to coordinate an effective Speechcraft, and at the same time plan and implement successfully. So we just discussed the overview, and we discussed some of the objectives, and now let's move on to the benefits. First of all, who are your markets for the Speechcraft? These are the market people and organizations, different types of people. As you can see on the graphic, you've got business people in there. The colored ones are different types of people. And on the far right, you see a book club in there. It can be any group. And your market would also be corporations, hospitals, churches, other types of organizations, community clubs, community organizations and all those. So I'm referring to anybody available, able, and willing to participate or be part of Toastmasters. So your Speechcraft markets or prospects are Toastmasters markets. Now, I have categorized the market into two different types. We have the primary and the secondary markets. The primary markets are what you call non-Toastmasters or the Speechcrafters. They're grouped into corporate and community. As you well know, you've been a Toastmaster for a while, so you know all of this. Corporate clubs, we have a lot of those, especially in the downtown area, in the community clubs. Churches, schools, hospitals, government, and special interest groups like project management groups, group of coaches, realtors, and all of those. Now, the secondary market are the Toastmasters who are brand new and also the seasoned ones. Now, the primary markets, what could be the motivators for them to participate in Speechcraft? First, for the non-Toastmasters on the corporate side, they will improve, it's more for personal and career development, and service quality will be better. Now, on the community clubs, members' personal development, improve social skills, and service to the community. Now, as far as Toastmasters or what you call enablers are concerned, our main targets would be the new Toastmasters because they want to gain knowledge and experience now. But for most of you who are seasoned Toastmasters, you just want to be helping others all the time. You're willing to help them and grow, and for them to gain manual credit, of course, in pathways, DTM credit, experience, and recognition. Now, going into detail, what non-Toastmasters will get out of the project will be for them to learn the fundamentals of public speaking, because Toastmasters believe in learning by doing. So they learn by doing, they participate actively at club meetings. They enjoy the class fellowship while gaining confidence and develop communication leadership skills. And then during the Speechcraft, they also see firsthand what Toastmasters is all about. Now, for an individual member, if you volunteer to be a presenter, you present instructional speeches and then you complete an educational project. For a Speechcraft advisor, you gain experience in listening, thinking, and coaching and mentoring non-Toastmasters during the breakouts. And for a coordinator, coordinating a Speechcraft fulfills a DTM requirement. Now, as you well know, we just got through with the traditional program, but for pathways, it has the same requirement to be able to get your DTM. If you look at the requirement for number 5 and 6, serve successfully as a club sponsor or conduct a Speechcraft or youth leadership program, and then complete the DTM project. Conducting a Speechcraft or coordinating a Speechcraft, let's say you have done one already and you want to do another one, you can convert it to a DTM project and also get credit for it. Now, the benefits, it is the number one, for clubs, areas, and divisions, as well as the district, Toastmasters endorse it as the number one membership building tool. It has worked through the years in many countries of the world and in several different clubs. Now, it's also a great way to form new clubs, meeting area, division, and district goals. Well, the district would be happy if we can form clubs using Speechcraft, right? More clubs, more Speechcrafts, more clubs, more members. And it's also a great way to promote Toastmasters in corporations, communities, and other groups. Now, clubs that conduct Speechcraft struggle with membership. And of course, you always gain DCP points. Now, I look into what will fit in pathways in case you want to participate in Speechcraft. So the 10 paths are there, and those marked with the R are the required projects, and the E are electives. And as you can see, by being a coordinator of the Speechcraft, you can complete all the pathway projects on the fourth column. Because during your presentation, let's say you're trying to close the sale, talk to everybody that it's a good idea to participate in the Speechcraft, coordinating a Speechcraft, doing a presentation, and all of those, those have equivalent pathways projects credit. So if you're in one path, let's say innovative planning, a lot of those can be met. So you're talking about 7 different projects just by coordinating a Speechcraft. Now let's look at what the presenter will get, what educational completion in pathways the presenter will get. You can use the pathways project on researching and presenting if you're assigned to, let's say, train the speech crafters on how to organize a speech, show what you mean, vocal variety, give an icebreaker sample, visual aids, how to evaluate. Everything that the presenter will do would be a speech on how to, and not the application of those projects. See all those credits that you can get in participating in Speechcraft? That's a lot. And then for the speech crafters, what they get is a credit for an icebreaker speech once they join the club. And during they will be also doing a speech on get to the point. However, Toastmasters will not give them credit for that, but at least they got the experience of doing it. Now, how to organize one, how to coordinate one. There are minimum requirements. To be able to get credit as having coordinated a Speechcraft, you have to have at least 5 participants, or what you call 5 non-Toastmasters or Speechcrafters participating. And so the first thing you want to make sure is you got a very good coordinator like yourself. You have at least 6 presenters and advisors. And as I've said, at least 5 non-Toastmasters. So to be able to organize one, you have to come up with a smart plan. You have to have the tools, the time, the place, the manpower. When I talk about the place, this is for in normal conditions. Now we're talking about Zoom, so the place will be replaced by Zoom. Now, 5 or more participants, tools and materials, support from the organization. You need a coordinator, and you got the, let's see. Okay, there you go. Now there are different steps in organizing a Speechcraft. Now I decided to include what's going on, the pandemic, and how we're going to handle it during this time. So for both situations, the same thing will still apply. How do you identify? You have to identify who your target markets are or your target prospects. It can be corporate, community, government, of course, based on the situation. How's the economy? You have to consider that. What are the businesses that are going on right now that are still going on? Those groups are what you call your major prospects during the pandemic. So are there still some prospects from corporate, or would you rather have more prospects on the community, on a community level? Now you have to assess your club situation also. Do a SWOT analysis. How's my club? Can we do a Speechcraft? Do we need additional members? So if we need additional members, we should go through a Speechcraft or do some other ways to increase membership. So do we have, in case we want to do a Speechcraft, do we have the resources to make it happen? Will it be for the best interest of the club, or should we rather use a different approach? So the next thing you have to consider is to set SMART goals and strategize, as I have mentioned in the chart I've shown you earlier. 5 members, do we need 5 new members? 2 smaller level ones? Do we need to do an open house during, let's say, a Christmas party? What sort of open house are we going to do? During the pandemic, everything, even the Christmas party, would be done online. So let's find a way to do that. Use your creative skills in whatever way you can make this happen. And also, the most important thing is you get commitments from able and willing members. Now, there are additional steps on how to organize based on what's normal and what's not normal when it comes to situations. So normally, the first consideration or the major consideration you have to think about is, where am I going to hold the Speechcraft? I need to book the place now before I even announce when it's going to be and where it's going to be in my invitations. So before you even promote it, you have to book the place already with a set date and time. So you know how long the place will allow you to use it, because Speechcraft requires at least 5 to 6 hours to do a short version. So find a location that would allow you to do that. Once you have booked that location with a date and time, that's when you can start promoting it as a free course, free introductory course in public speaking. So you send out flyers and invitations and all of those. And then during the pandemic, of course, since you cannot find a location, you have to obtain a Zoom account. So why do we need a location, let's say, with 3 rooms or more? That's because in a Speechcraft, there will be breakout sessions where you can ask the Speechcrafters to craft their speeches on the spot and then to go back to the general session room to listen to presentations, then apply whatever they have learned during the educational presentations in their speeches. So in place of the location during the pandemic, the Speechcraft you should have a Zoom account that would allow for breakout rooms. So it's one of those, not the free ones, but of course one that your club needs to pay for, or maybe you can borrow a friend's account that has a fancier version of Zoom that you can use during the breakout. So it will have at least 2 breakout rooms. Now, promoting it also during the pandemic, you can promote it by sending electronic invitations and flyers. And in the invitation, you would mention again, it will be a free introductory course in public speaking. Now, after you have promoted, in both situations, you have to formulate a specific plan. So we're talking about what type going to do, what Speechcraft, what and when, where, who will take care of it, and how are we going to implement it. So you formulate a specific plan using your Zoom account. Which account are we going to use? Is the account available for use for a certain number of hours and all of those? And then after that, you have formulated a specific plan, which I'm going to discuss in a few minutes. You will be implementing the plan. Now, formulating a specific plan. First of all, what are the specifics? I mentioned, what type is it going to be? Do you want a 4-session Speechcraft, a 6-session, or an 8-session Speechcraft? Do you want it just for 1 day or 8 weeks? In whatever way you want to. Will it be a part of a regular meeting? Let's say, do it after the official meeting, spend an hour for non-Toastmasters and then go back to work? Or would you rather do a standalone? So these are the, let me show you. If it's a part of a regular meeting during the business portion of the meeting, if time is not the problem, go ahead and do that. Now, if done every business meeting, there's no more time left for real business to discuss. Now, if it's done on a separate day, also as part of the regular meeting, or it needs you time from work in a corporate environment, and your boss wouldn't want you to be taking a few hours just to do Toastmasters instead of doing your real work. Now, a standalone outside of a club workshop in a different location and time, you can accommodate more people because you're free. You don't have to worry about going back to work and rushing and explaining to your boss like, yeah, it's a very good cause. It's like, yeah, we don't support that. So it depends. So more likely, the best one to make a decision on would be on a standalone outside the club workshop. You can have more time and focus. And then if it's conducted at the group's location, there's less trouble looking for a place, as I've mentioned. Let's go back in here. So that's about the place. And then when is the date and time? As I've mentioned earlier, if you have to book a place during normal times, you have to make sure of the date and time and not change it once you have released the promotional flyers and invitations. The where, will it be in an office? Will it be in a community center like the Trin in Mendenhall, or will it be in the church rooms? So if they allow you to do that, it depends on the churches, if they're willing to support you doing that, if you're trying to serve the community anyway. And who will be assigned? Who will be the overall coordinator? Who will be the assistant coordinators? Will there be 6 to 8 presenters? Do I need 2 advisors per breakout? Are we going to do it for weekly? Of course, only 2 Toastmasters will suffice. Which was being done before at the medical center, 2 people coordinating it, and they also serve as advisors during that time. And it's mostly for students at the medical center. So it's a different type of market, different types of market. You use different types of Speechcraft projects. So now, how? Conduct the program successfully, of course, using the prescribed format based on the coordinator's guide and based on my guide. Now, once you have formulated specific plan, this is the based on normal conditions. Number 1 is availability of the members of the team. If you don't have the members of the team available, you cannot even do the planning. That's a major consideration. You've got to have key people in place before you even attempt to start on that project. The place, it should be, I already mentioned. One of the things, let's say you're trying to reserve a facility, make sure you know the rules of the facility and the time constraints, equipment availability. You can accommodate more people and can be allowed being used for more time and focus. Now, the reason why I came up with a 1-day Speechcraft, because a week before we had the Speechcraft at the Trini Mendenhall Community Center, sometime in 2016, I said, so we can leave the facility by 5 o'clock. They said, no, we close at 3. I said, nobody told me you close at 3. Since I'm already committed to a group of non-Toastmasters to come up with a Speechcraft, I couldn't tell them, no, we're postponing it. You already have the prospects on hand. Why let them go? So what I did, one evening, I tried to change the timing of every single piece of, for every single item in the agenda and every single activity that we need to do to come up with the Speechcraft. And I came up with a reduced version in which that I was able to do for 5 hours, including the demo meeting at the end, because if you want to offer something, it's got to be a complete package. So they get the experience too at the end where they showcase these skills. So I came up with a reasonable amount of time for each activity, and that's how the 1 day, 5 hour Speechcraft was. The facility wouldn't allow us to use it for 8 hours. Now, let's talk about, okay, you talk about availability place. How about the budget? If you're doing it at that place or some other place, you don't want to have participants leaving the room and not coming back after they ate lunch outside, especially if they're not glued yet to what you were trying to do. And some of them probably got scared of having to deliver the speeches they just wrote, and they decided not to come back if you let them go out to lunch. So there has to be a budget for food and materials to hold the participants and let them stay in the rooms. And especially if it's a tight situation where you have limited time. The time is very limited and every minute counts. So you have to watch the time. Now, the budget, you don't have, let's say your club doesn't have the budget for that to support, let's say a group of 50 or 40 or 30. What you do is you ask other clubs to co-sponsor the Speechcraft. So let's say, okay, I'm asking Talk of the Town to join CNF, and I'm asking Master Evaluators to also pitch in to sponsor it, which means they're going to help us with the funds. They're going to help us with the, there should be people from them. That is what you call sponsoring, also providing the resources, manpower, and financial resources to make it happen. So they can pitch in for food. Some will bring food, some will bring drinks, some will bring. That's what you call a normal situation. And I just want to remind you that only clubs can sponsor Speechcrafts. Areas, divisions, and district cannot. So everything that we're doing here has got to be sponsored by clubs. So Speechcrafts, only clubs can sponsor Speechcrafts. Now, pandemic, looking at what we just discussed. So there's also, you have to consider as a primary consideration the availability of the members of the Speechcraft team to make it happen. And then the Zoom account in place of the place available for specific date and time, and also with available Zoom hosts to handle the technology requirements. So the Zoom account should be capable of having breakout rooms. Now the budget, of course, you don't have to provide food and all those. They can, as they write their speeches, they can eat a sandwich where they are, whether they're at home or somewhere, participating online. So, but the budget will still be, you still need to have a budget to pay for the Zoom account plus other materials. And I've mentioned earlier, only class can sponsor Speechcraft. Now, you finalize later on the specific plan. Now that you have the specifics, you have commitments from your members and those who are members of this Speechcraft team, you have to finalize the plan. Now, you're probably curious, should we go using the longer session or should we use the shorter version? The longer sessions tend to drag. Sometimes meetings get canceled. In fact, in recent years, in most cases, meetings get canceled by, let's say, a company said, oh, we have a board meeting or a special meeting. Can we put up Speechcraft? And there you go. You're there showing up with your team, and then the meeting being canceled because of some business requirements they have, especially in corporate clubs. You don't want that to happen. The no-shows and the cancellations always happen if you use the long version. If it's a one-day version, you get it over with the same day. There's more too. So one more thing, corporations value work time versus Toastmasters time. And now considering the downturn in business, they're even stricter. There's also no assurance that clubs will get formed after all the sacrifices that Toastmasters do. As I've mentioned, they get canceled, they get moved to a different date, and you spend money for gas and all of those, and taking off a few hours from work to be able to support them and train them. And it's not easy to find a place unless you're allowed you to do in corporate offices, and also not easy to find volunteers, especially during working hours. Now, my recommendation would be a one-day Speechcraft, which will either be for 5 or 8 hours, one day on a Saturday or on a Sunday. Now, the shorter versions, everybody gets credit immediately in one day. You know, as I've mentioned, Speechcrafters, coordinators, presenters, and advisors get those credits the same day. And for sure, you're gonna have new member signups, especially if they're all enthusiastic on using the skills they just learned. So it will be up to you to get them motivated at that time. New clubs form. If there are 20 people showing up, there will be 20 sign-ups, depending on how you motivate the whole group to do that. So you get club area, division, and district gets credit. They meet the membership educational goals and DCP goals. Now, how do we prepare? First, let's say not knowing anything else. Let's say you didn't get a copy of this presentation and you don't have a coordinator's guide on or workbook or how to conduct one or coordinate one. You have to order what you need ahead of time from Toastmasters International. By the way, pretty soon Toastmasters International will be changing the coordinator's guide, but I don't know when they will be released. But for now, I'm doing a hybrid of the traditional and pathways at the same time, using pathways projects to be able to do this, okay? And once you have ordered the tools, as I've mentioned, you promote it. How do you promote Speechcraft? Open houses, trade shows, community events, special meetings, social events, social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Chamber of Commerce, bulletin boards, and all those. It has worked in the past using all of those types of media. Now you recruit 5 or more participants who are non-Toastmasters, and you get the team ready and committed. Now, during the pandemic, what sort of preparation? Same way, you order the tools, you promote the Speechcraft, but this time you have open houses by Zoom. You have corporate community events by Zoom. And you know, doing it with special interest groups like project managers and all those, doing it via Zoom. People are now being very creative about using Zoom in everything to make things happen. And electronic flyers and invitations would always work. And you can post it on your club's website and Facebook, other social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and some others. And then the same preparation, recruit, and get members ready. Now, these are the promotional materials available from Toastmasters International, as I mentioned. And now, after the preparation you made, you got the plan, you prepare, and now you got to implement the plan. now you have all the specifics, you're ready to implement the plan. So you implement the plan using my recommendations and the TI coordinator's guide, which will work well for a long version. Now you prepare the agenda, the handouts, the certificates, club materials, and some other materials you will be bringing to the meeting place. One thing you should remember is when you're doing a Speechcraft, you want to create a very good image about Toastmasters. The Toastmasters are always very organized and ready to go anytime. So you should have the agenda ready, the handouts, the certificates, some other club materials, the banner hanging by the door, people greeting as they come in, and then directing them to where they're going to sit and orienting them to the place. That is a very good organizer. And we're all Toastmasters. We've been through a lot of events, so you know what I mean. You have to arrive early to be able to put signs on the door and hang the banner, prepare meeting rooms, especially the AV equipment. Let's say you're going to present, the computer won't even work. There you go, people waiting and waiting, looking at their watches, said, are we going to start or not? And then things won't work. So everything has got to be tested if you arrive early or even before you arrive early. And sometimes the connection to the internet won't work if you need the internet for presentation. So arriving early really matters a lot. Now, briefing before you even start the Speechcraft, of course, a coordinator would welcome everybody and tell them, oh, so-and-so will be briefing you in a few minutes. And of course, the breakout leaders and advisors will be briefed on what to do. They're not supposed to support Speechcrafters in creating their speeches. They're just there for any questions they might have, but not to give them ideas on what to write in their speeches. So based on the agenda, there you go. You start on time, you begin on time, and then you perform the assigned roles. Each one will be doing their roles. Now, these are the things that normally you would have in the room, and some others that you will be needing, the coordinator's guide in there. You got the presentation materials, the agenda, the lights, the gavel ballots, the sign-up sheets, and on the right, the certificates for the participants and certificates for the coordinator for presentation by district officer later on. Now, now implementation, how to coordinate one. What you do is the Speechcrafters, the agenda, general sessions, the how to organize a speech, how to come up with an icebreaker, and all of those. And then they listen to the Speechcrafters, listen to instructional speeches. And then they break out in groups of 3 or 4, at least 2 Toastmasters advisor in each group. Now, the advisors will explain the instructions and keep track of the time. Now, during the breakout, that's the time they write their speeches. And the first thing they write about is about themselves, an icebreaker. They're given 40 minutes to write those, and then immediately after, the advisors will call each one of them to deliver those speeches within 2 to 3 minutes, a shorter version of the normally 4 to 6 minutes. It's just for them to test it, try it, and see whether they can do it in front of a small group. And now each one gets introduced by the advisor. It's like being in a Toastmasters meeting, and then they deliver the speeches, and then the other advisor records the time. So one advisor will be also evaluating as the other one records the time. In breakout number 2, they switch places. So each one takes the role of the timer and the other one takes the role of the advisor. And then they keep track of the progress for each participant. So it is amazing how this speech crafters can come up with their speeches quickly. And some of them, of course, they probably have given speeches at work and, you know, but for them, it's a challenge. And I believe in peer pressure. So people can do it whenever they want to, and they can come up with something really good, a really good speech within a few minutes if you pressure them. If they see all the other speech crafters beside them finishing and about to deliver their speeches, and some of them were left out, peer pressure works. Believe me, peer pressure works. So the short version works because of peer pressure. Now, once they have finished the course, of course, they deliver the speeches for the second time during the breakouts. They listen to instructional speeches and then do the same. One thing they do is they go to a demo meeting and they showcase all these skills. Each breakout group will nominate their best speaker, and the speaker will be competing during the demo meeting. So let's say there are 2 breakout groups or 3 breakout groups. Each group will have their own candidate to compete during the demo meetings. So you will have 3 speakers from each, 1 from each group. Now, for short versions, we don't allow speech crafters to evaluate. We just show them how to, and even during the breakouts, the advisors were the ones evaluating them as a group. So during the demo meeting, what we use are also Toastmasters, experienced Toastmasters doing the evaluations. So we'll just showcasing them, but during an 8-hour Speechcraft, that allows you for more time. We normally would use, let's say, 1 newbie and then 2 Toastmasters to do the evaluation. At least they get the experience of evaluating also. Now, this is how it works. Based on what I just told you, there will be presentations during the general session, and then there are a list of projects that will be done during the general session before they even go to work session 1. And then they go to, after work session, they go to work session 1, that's the breakout. They go back again to the general session room after they have delivered their icebreakers and to listen to some more speeches. Then I'll show you how the agenda looks like. And then after the general session 2, they go back to their rooms and write their second speech, or which is a get to the point speech. And then the final session, they all gather together, and that's the time they graduate and they showcase those skills during the demo meeting. Now on the right, the demo meeting, that's how it looks like. Now, this is a typical agenda that you can find in the Toastmasters International site. There's always the business meeting, table topics at the beginning, and then they have, you know, speeches, evaluations, and then this happens if you're doing it on a weekly basis or, you know, for 8 weeks or 6 weeks in a row. This is the typical agenda they have. Now, for an 8-hour Speechcraft agenda, these are the timing for all of those. This is a sample of the actual Speechcraft done for lectors in one of the churches. So you see some of those in the first general session. There will be someone to talk about what table topics is all about, how to respond to table topics questions, how to organize a speech. And then one of the Toastmasters will give an icebreaker speech, and then someone will give a presentation on how to evaluate, and then that same presenter will evaluate the icebreaker speech, and then they break out in groups. That's what you call breakout session 1. And then they start the work session, then another series of speeches in the general session, how to get to the point, and then It ends at 5:30. This is the 8-hour session. Now for a 1-day Speechcraft session, this is what you get. Oops. Can you all see this? Let's see. Oops. Anyway, you've got table topics, how to organize, sample, icebreaker. You have a short break. Then in the general session too, you discuss about vocal variety, use of hand gestures, body language, and all those. And that's what you have. So on work session 1, this is how work session 1 looks like when they come up with an icebreaker. And these are the timing that you can expect from work session 1. So if you look at before Speechcrafters start preparing, the team leaders, advisors should review with the Speechcrafters the information given during the instructional speeches. So what the advisors will really do would be to reinforce whatever was discussed during the general session. Let's say, oh, this is how to organize a speech. You have to come up with a clear opening, body, and close, and blah, blah, blah. This is how you select your topic, blah, blah, blah. And then this is how you're gonna organize it. And then look at this, preparation of speech, you prepare for 2 to 3 minute icebreaker. And then if you look at the time, they're given 40 minutes to prepare an icebreaker, and then they present the icebreaker. They draw for speaking positions. Let's say you have three participants or 5 participants. So who's gonna go first, who's gonna go second? Let's say if you have more than what you can afford based on the time, the other 2 will be asked to present in the second breakout. If time permits, they will have a of the get to the point speech also. So this is for work session 2, it's a get to the point type of speech. And then everything, it will end, they will join the general session meeting at 1:10, and then based on that, they will prepare for the demo meeting. Are there any questions so far?
Cynthia, this is Dorothy. I have a question.
Uh-huh.
The way that your process is looking to me, is it set up on the traditional, the old path, the old way that speeches were done, or will this be transitioned to pathways?
Yes, it will be applicable also to pathways. Everything is applicable to pathways. The types of speeches that are being given it has an equivalent type of speech in pathways also. So, but your main source will still be like the CC manual or the Speechcraft manual. The important thing about Speechcraft is to get them, that their feet wet on Toastmasters, the basic skills which they can use in any pathways project also. Basic skills of organizing a speech and all those. So if they start on an icebreaker, they know what to do already. If they get the research or topic type of speech, they would know how to organize those. And when they deliver those speeches, they would know already how to use hand gestures, vocal variety, and all those. So you're just training them on the basic skills of public speaking. That's why we call it an introductory course. It's not completing a specific project, let's say the only one that can be completed by the Speechcrafter would be the icebreaker, where they can get credit if they join the club. But they learn also how to do the get to the point speech, which can be applicable. The skills built in there can be applicable and used also for other pathway speeches or projects. Did that answer your question?
It did, thank you. Answered my second question as well, because I was going to ask you about that second speech. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else?
Cynthia, there's a question in the chat window from Tabby. How much does the Speechcraft cost? And that's been answered by Anne. She says that it's $20 for the starter kit for 3 coordinators, but the shipping is about the same. There's about $40 in total for the kit. Do you want to add anything on this question?
I would recommend just using what we have right now, the materials that I've been using for this, because Toastmasters International will be changing everything by the end of the Toastmasters year. And buying manuals right now and would cost a lot of money unless they want to keep those. A good way to keep them, okay, what we've been doing in Speechcraft, the short version is when a presenter presents something, let's say, I assign you, Chandra, to present on how to organize a speech. You can come up with your own handout, like a quick way for them to refer to as they craft those speeches. So let's say, how do I organize an icebreaker speech? You will have a 1-page summary of what they're going to consider when they craft those speeches. They didn't have to read the book at that time because it's everything will be, you know, we always would ask the presenters to have a handout, at least a 1-page handout as to, I mean, for quick summaries of what were discussed and for a quick reference, what you call a quick reference guide for every presentation during the Speechcraft. So in that case, you don't have to order the books. The coordinator's guide also would be helpful, but it always applies to the long version that would run for about 6 to 8 weeks. And what we're trying to do here is a short version where you're cutting off the business version of the meeting, table topics and all those. This can be done in a day, 1 day in 5 hours, or you can do it 1 day in 8 hours where everybody learned everything and practice it at the same time. I'm pushing on using the 1 day instead of the 8 weeks. As I've mentioned, the longer versions tend to drag, and most of the time they get canceled by the group. They have other things going on. They don't want to waste time. And then by the time the enthusiasm is already gone, so there won't be much success using the long version, and following the book, that's the long version. But you can get information from there, which you can also get from your CC manual. So I would suggest not ordering. I would suggest not ordering, where it will cost your club some money, unless you're willing to spend that much money. I have a handout that you can use. I just need to put some new ones in there, but by next week, by Tuesday, those will be available at in Google Docs that you can all access and print. So you don't have to buy the book. Any other questions?
Has anyone already done a Zoom Speechcraft, and how successful was it?
None yet. We're just starting. And that's why we're having this, because a lot of people, we thought it won't work, but I said, let's go experiment on one. And what we're going to do would be, do you want to be the first one to do it? Yes, nope. I'm gonna help you.
Not yet.
No, we're gonna help each other. Let's try the very first one, but some are brave enough to do that. So we had some pending projects. There were 4 pending projects right before the pandemic. They were all scheduled in April, 3 of them in April and 1 in May. Unfortunately, they were canceled because those non-Toastmasters were scared to be in a crowd. And of course, everybody's scared to be in a crowd. So it didn't happen. And then so many things happened after the time. And then I said, okay, if Zoom will allow breakout rooms, we can have these same breakout rooms we've been having physically before in a Speechcraft. So if you want to be the first one to do it, let's do it. Luz,
there is someone. Basma Al is saying she wants to be the first one.
Oh, Basma, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at my screen now because I cannot see the full view of everybody here. My screen has got the PowerPoint. Anyway, yes, Basma, do you want to be the first one?
Yes, I want to be the first one.
Okay, I'm writing down your name.
Yeah.
Okay, we can discuss some more about it, and
Yeah.
let me know if you got the team ready, and then we'll make it happen. So who else wants to be brave enough to try the Zoom Speechcraft? I'm I'll be writing down some names. Come on, you're all Toastmasters. You've done this before. It's just a matter of, I mean, it's a way to help non-Toastmasters develop their communication skills. And it's only one day, one Saturday or one Sunday.
I want to try it too. This is Mohina.
Oh, Mohina. Okay, Mohina. Who else?
Marie Goradia.
Oh, Marie, how are you?
I'm good, and I will do it in October.
October, okay.
But I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
How many advisors in each breakout room, and how many people in a breakout room?
Okay. If you're talking about 10 Toastmasters, 10 non-Toastmasters or 9 Toastmasters, the 5-hour Speechcraft usually works for, let's say, a maximum of 9, 9, because, or 10 would work.
Okay.
Because you want them to have the best experience they have during the breakout. So there are some who can speak and some who cannot based on the time limit. But I think 3 non-Toastmasters with 2 advisors per breakout would work out. One advisor will be the timer, the other advisor will be the advisor, and then they switch roles. So 3 breakouts with 3 each, and the other one will have 4 non-Toastmaster. So you will need 6 advisors. And you can also use your presenters to be the advisors during the breakout. So the same presenters will be assigned to the breakout rooms.
All right.
Not too bad. And then I think Zoom would even work better for Speechcraft because they don't have to leave their homes. They just attend the sessions, write their speeches, and then they feel comfortable delivering those at home on the screen. So we're gonna have more Speechcrafts using Zoom.
Cynthia, this
So do you need a minimum of 3 people in each breakout, or can there be just 2?
There can be just 2.
Okay.
So the less the better, you can concentrate on them. Okay. Let's say you ended up with 5. You don't want all the 5 in there. One breakout will have 3, the other one will have 2.
Okay.
And there you go, you complete your Speechcraft project. 5 people. But the more the better, because when these people join Toastmasters, you're gonna have more people joining Toastmasters.
Okay.
And doing a Speechcraft also, you don't only help your club, you also help other clubs that you want to help. So let's say, okay, I'm gonna help you. Let's say you belonging to another club. I'm gonna coordinate this Speechcraft. You wanna help me at least be a presenter or advisor, I can coordinate it, or you will be my assistant coordinator if, let's say, there are 10 people showing up. So for every 5, that gives you a credit as a coordinator. 5 non-Toastmasters in the group. But you have more, better. So let's say there are 10 or 15 who showed up wanting to learn more about Toastmasters. So 15 will entitle 3 people to a coordinator credit.
And what credit is this that you get?
You get a credit for a DTM requirement.
Okay. And what about the advisors? What do they get?
They get educational completions credit. Okay. I've mentioned earlier, I've got a spreadsheet. I'm gonna share everybody. So If you send your emails to
The chat?
Chandra or Latonya, and then they can give me your email addresses, I can send you the material, a handout along with what projects in Pathways will satisfy being an advisor, or coordinator, or presenter. I've shown that earlier in my spreadsheet. I look at every project, which one would fit. So those will fit those Pathways projects. There's a lot of them. So you can satisfy both educational and membership goals just by doing Speechcraft.
Can we get this PowerPoint?
The PowerPoint,
Yeah.
it will be in the form of a handout. It will have the same information.
Okay.
And I will give you a format of what to use, the timing and all of those for your agenda. And also the work session 1 and 2, how much time. You all get a copy of work session 1 and 2 that you see on the screen.
Okay.
So let
you
me know
will-
so I can send you the electronic versions.
Okay. So
I've
put my email in. So you will send me the 1 and 2, right? For Speechcraft.
We can, yeah, the work session 1 and 2 and a handout. I will send you whatever you will be needing to coordinate one, just like what I did before for, in fact, Charla and Anne did Speechcrafts already, and some others participated in Speechcrafts before. So yeah, they used the same information I gave them, and they were all successful. And later on, they can tell you more about it. Okay, so are there any other questions?
Yes, when someone coordinates one of the Speechcrafts, can we come in as observers?
Yes. Yes, for the very first one, you can all join the Zoom Speechcraft that all Basma will be doing. Everybody will be there. So Basma, you will have a lot of people in your very first Speechcraft in Zoom. And you can
So
see
I will be
how
having
it's
a lot of
done.
support.
Yes, you will have a lot of support. So it's better to be the first one, right? You will make history.
Hey, Cynthia, this is Latanya. Can I please recommend an alternative to putting your email in the chat window?
Okay, so they can send me, yeah,
Yes,
might as
because I
well.
can't, for some reason, I can't copy and paste their names.
Okay,
So-
let me send you, I'll send you a chat. So you can put my name in there. Okay, let me see. Why am I not, it's not allowing me to chat for some reason. Can you, it's
How about this,
CS.
Cynthia? I'll go ahead and type, everyone, if you need information from Cynthia, please take note of her email address.
Okay.
And email her directly, please.
Okay, you know my email address,
yes,
right?
I'll go get it right now.
Yeah, csabdon@gmail.com. Okay. So before you okay close the sale, the next steps will be, of course, you graduate. The speech crafters join the graduation ceremony. They get their certificates for participating, and you also present certificates to those who help out during the speech craft. And then you close the sale. You invite the speech crafters to join the club who sent them, so the club will get credit in case they join. And also make some suggestions. Let's say they don't know which club to join. You can send them suggestions on which club to join. And for a group of 20, you can form a club and you invite them to sign up and invite the Toastmasters who were there present to sign up for another speech club. Now, also, this is the sign-up sheet. They either sign up as a coordinator, a presenter, advisor, or additional help. And then you got all the contact information from them. Now, let's have a breakout project. What I'd like you to do is, for those of you who belong to corporate clubs with the one beside your name, you will be transferred. You will stay in the general session room. Let's see, unless, Latanya,
Yes.
we can have 2 breakout rooms, right? And then we can keep the general session room.
Well, we can, but I think what's been set up is just one community breakout room. So
Okay.
we can have the corporate folks stay on the main
Stay
room.
in the general session room. Okay,
Yes.
so group 1 will be in the general session room. Group 2 will be in the breakout room. So this is the question for everybody to answer. There will be a break. I'll give you a break of 5 minutes each to discuss. I think 5 minutes would be too much. Maybe 3 minutes for each group, and then you will all be directed back to the general session room after. The question is, how would you invite prospects to participate in a Speechcraft workshop during the pandemic? That same question for corporate clubs and the same question for community and other clubs. So let's
Can I say this, Cynthia?
transfer them all to the breakout rooms.
I will. There's one person, there are a few people. Can you please check your name in the participant window and make sure that you have renamed yourself with either a 1 in front of your name or 2. There are a few folks that still haven't changed their name.
Okay.
And then you said, so there, and just to let you know, there's going to be, for now, 18 to 19 people going into the community room. Do you think 3 minutes is still sufficient?
Maybe let's make it 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, for longer. Yeah. Let's make it 5 minutes each, and then they can go back after 5 minutes. What time is it now? Let's see. It's 10:08.
Okay.
So about.
So the breakout room will close in about 5.5 minutes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm opening it now.
Thank you.
Okay. This room should be for corporate clubs. All right.
Okay.
We still have 2 people who haven't named themselves, so I guess they'll stay here and work with the corporate clubs.
Okay.
Actually, I'm in community club, not in corporate.
Oh yeah.
You have
Okay.
the 1 by your name. That's corporate. You want it to move?
And
Yeah,
Latanya, Mary
it
Jo
should be
from
2.
Blue Frog. Sorry.
Okay, we'll move you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And who else?
Mary Jo, and then Cheryl. Unless Cheryl's going to talk and help us.
Cheryl wants to be in the community corporate room.
Okay. And then Mary Jo shows a 2, but she's community.
Mary Jo is not able to be moved, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because of her setup.
Well, you can just put Mary Jo in corporate.
Yes, she's here.
Oh, she's there. Okay. Okay, let's get started. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. 5 minutes. Okay. You can all chat with each other.
Hi, everyone. I'm part of a corporate club, and it is challenging trying to get people together. But one of the things I found that was helpful is that now our company is having different initiatives, and we have different ERGs. So we have some for like the global women. We have some for specific ethnicity groups. We were really fortunate to have Toastmasters as one of our clubs and as an education opportunity for the employees. So we did contact HR and they were able to really help us branch out and reach out. And during the time that people need assistance or so, we were able to leverage informing people about Toastmasters, and then doing something with the community engagement in order to get more people informed with Toastmasters. So we actually had an event and then tied that to donating some things at the Houston Food Bank, so that it put opportunity, we were able to attract more members, and then they gave us opportunities to do other things. So we were also able to reach out to different groups and help them learn about how would you like to, help your team grow and learn. So we were able to recruit members that way. So that's one way outside of just your Toastmasters unit. You can reach outside of your specific Toastmasters group to the broader audience and try to draw them into Toastmasters by having special events, and to say, we're going to have a Speechcraft to really help you develop some skills that you can use in your presentations in one day. That was one way in which we could reach out to the community, to our corporate employees. So does anyone else have any suggestions on how you can reach other members, as Cynthia was saying, and other employees in your corporate setting?
I'll hide, you all discuss. Go ahead.
Jessica, do you have any, and Chahedi, do you all have any options that you've been using for corporate clubs to help reach? And Stacy?
So for us, we're planning on having a speechathon at the end of the month. And one of our goals is that during that time, it's kind of an event that we're having to introduce Toastmasters. As we are a hybrid and open corporate club, we plan on doing multiple types of, I would say, advertising, if you will. One of our things that we thought about, though, too, is that the best way to get membership is through just like referrals, right? So one of our things that we're trying as a club is bring a friend, bring a friend to meeting. That way you can reach out to your network, and that doesn't need to be at Marathon or at your corporate, or, you can just bring a friend to introduce them to Toastmasters as a way for them to build their skills. And I think we know people in our networks that want to really build their public speaking skills. So this is just a great opportunity by inviting them to an event or to a meeting. And in this way, and for the Speechcraft, I think it's really great. And I love the suggestion that you had, which was getting with HR and actually having it as an event, because right now, especially with a lot of corporations, training dollars are limited. So you can have this as a way of managers who are wanting to get their individuals these types of skills. Well, this is free, right? So it's a way to maybe market it in a different way. So thank you for that suggestion, because we're going to use that one.
Thank you, Stacy. Love your comments. Hey, do we have anyone else that would like to comment?
All right, the breakout rooms have closed. Mm-hmm.
Charlotte? Oh.
Hi, LaTanya.
It's Rochelle.
So, is everybody back in the room?
I'm back.
Okay, everybody, looks like it. Now, let's start with corporate clubs. Who will be willing to start sharing ideas on how you can promote Speechcraft in a corporate environment? Anybody? Can you please unmute yourselves? Everybody can unmute themselves, please. Okay, there you go. Anybody?
We just had Stacy, but I don't see her on this list. I hope she's not left in a room or so. Oh, there's Stacy. Stacy, would you like to tell the larger room?
Oh, there she is.
Hi, sure. I'll go again. I think for us, and I think, Charlotte had a really great idea, but one of the things that we're doing at the end of this month is that we're having a speechathon, and we're going to invite people to that so they can get an idea of what that looks like. But also, one of the ideas, and I really got this from Charlotte, was that we think as it's a way for, at least in a corporate setting, because training dollars are very limited right now, is offering it as a training for managers, and something that we can work with HR and help in promoting, training, which promotes Toastmasters for those individuals where managers are trying to get their folks more apt to do public speaking and presentations and to do that. But also, one of the things that we are doing is more of referrals or network marketing, which is bring a friend a meeting. So using your network to bring a friend to introduce them to Toastmasters, which then, they have an instant friend because you're bringing them to the meeting and, using that as an idea. So that's kind of what I brought up.
Okay, good. Yes, it's pretty good. Any other ideas on the corporate side?
I had an idea.
Oh, Rachel. Okay, Rachel.
It's Rochelle.
Rochelle, okay.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to say this in our little corporate setting, our little breakout session, but sometimes how we've invited folks to our previous meetings and the physical side were lunch, but of course we can't do the lunch anymore, but how we would try to persuade people to come, we would have special guests, because sometimes, yes, time is precious. You got to give them something that they're interested in. If you don't give them something that will feed their interest or their desire, they're not going to come, they're not going to show up, they're going to be bored, and they're going to be wasting their time. Sometimes, like our previous meeting, somebody brought up the suggestion to talk about what people are going through, their emotions because of the pandemic. People are lonely, depressed, suicidal. So they talked about what can you do during this time to help yourself get through work, get through your day, and make the most of your day. So have a speaker that interests your group. Since we are Houston Police Department, we've got to invite some folks that are going to have a better interest with classified and with the civilians. So finding a topic that would interest your group, and even do a survey, hey, what do y'all want to hear people speak on? Get that speaker to come in during that beginning part of the meeting, and then let them know the rest of the part is to introduce them how to become a better speaker. So I think introducing a speaker of choice that will meet their need, they're definitely going to come. You've captured them, so now they got to be in there for the rest of the meeting. So I think that would be a good idea.
Oh, that's an excellent idea. Any other ideas on the corporate side? Okay, everybody's quiet, and I guess unmute. You can unmute yourselves now, so you can, if you want to speak, go ahead. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the community side. Anybody wants to volunteer first?
Well, we can get friends, people from the neighborhood.
Okay, Marie?
Yes. I already made a list of the ones I would like to connect with.
So people from the neighborhood.
Yes,
So-
or
so what-
friends or the extended family, any of that.
So where will you do this? You will do it via Zoom, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, that would be one. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
think Luz was talking about the ESL student that she has been teaching. So there are a lot of people in ESL who really are motivated and wants to learn the English. So she was like, can we target those students?
Oh,
Or those
okay.
people?
Okay. There's one more. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, we also talked about personal invitations, and there were some great suggestions. There were suggestions that if you belong to any other clubs, invite the members of those clubs.
Okay.
Not just Toastmasters Club, I mean any club.
So
We
any
also
other
talk
club, you
about
will
looking
invite.
at the list of the guests that has come to our meeting, but they have not been a member, and reaching out to those guests because they have already showed some interest in Toastmasters and have been in meeting once.
It's a good idea.
Okay. Okay,
We
that's
also
good.
talked about advertising in local publications such as Nextdoor or community papers.
Okay. So advertising.
And we also talk about Eventbrite. It's an online platform that will successfully bring people in. And then also give each of our coordinator a quota so that each coordinator can invite their personal friends or family members.
Okay. Very good suggestions. Thank you.
So
Anybody else?
In the Zoom environment, what is the number of people you want to invite that would not overwhelm people, but each one get enough time to do their icebreaker and their to the point speech? So how many would you want to invite?
If you want to do it just for 5 hours, you can invite 10 people.
Okay.
And then if you want to use the 8-hour session online, you can invite even 20 people, as long as you have several breakout rooms.
Okay. And the minimum you said is 5, right?
Yes, minimum of 5 to get the credit.
Okay.
And Cynthia, you have a question from Dorothy. She's asking, how long does it take to plan a Speechcraft?
That's a good question. It depends. I mentioned earlier about availability. So availability of those wanting to help out or ready to help out. Also availability of Zoom, that you can use. Do you have it, or can you borrow from someone at a specific date and time? And also, do you have time to promote it? The most important thing is before you even start a Speechcraft, of course, you have already set the time and date, which is very important.
Right.
You have to publicize it using the online invitations and flyers that you can post on social media or LinkedIn. And then based on the responses, let's say you got about 10 people already, go ahead and conduct the Speechcraft. I mean, since it's online anyway, you don't have to do all the extra things that you normally would do when you do it physically. So I would say you can do it in chunks. You don't have to wait for a big group. Once you have 5 or 7 or 8 or 10, go ahead and start the Speechcraft, as long as you have the commitment from your fellow Toastmasters to help out. Commitment is number 1. Having the place, the Zoom account is a primary consideration. Once you have it, you can start promoting it. And once you promote it, make sure you are really available for that time and date. Because if they show up at your Zoom account, cannot join, oh my God, you will have a lot of frustrated people in there, and they said, I hate Speechcraft. You don't want them to do that. So commitment is number 1. Integrity, let's exercise Toastmasters, what you call RISE, respect, integrity, service, and excellence. I mean, everything that we do, we should stick to those values. Integrity is number one when it comes to Speechcraft. You do what you promise to do.
Yep.
Okay, so it will take, it may take months, it may take a month or so. It depends again. Once again, it depends on the commitment of the members of the Speechcraft team that you're trying to form.
And Cynthia, I think, did you have something? I saw your line was unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, I thought was I muted earlier? No, I did. Oh, okay. I thought I was, okay. Anyway, what I was trying to say was that anything that you do in Speechcraft you should exercise the values of respect, integrity, service, and excellence. Integrity should be a primary consideration, because what you promise, non-Toastmasters haven't even joined a club, who are just trying to find out about Toastmasters, you should say, okay, we're doing it this day at this time. You have to really do it this day at this time, so they won't be frustrated trying to join a Speechcraft. Joining a Speechcraft is just like literally joining Toastmasters, except that they haven't signed up yet. They haven't registered as a member yet, but it's like being a Toastmaster right there. So we should exercise those. Anybody else? Any comments from the community group? Let's see, I see the name Cassie. Cassie Brandley, are you there? Can you unmute yourself?
Good morning, I am.
Hi.
So one of the ways that we reached out to obtain members in our club was we reached out, we had, during the pandemic, we had a lip sync contest.
Oh, okay.
And we had proceeds to actually go to the Houston Food Bank. And so then it actually opened up doors so that we can do this globally, because our other clubs in other locations, they start doing the same things for their local food banks or whatever they have. And so pretty much invite people from the outside and invite people within the company.
Wow. That's really good. Excellent idea.
And also with the planning for that, we did within a week. So within a week, we did almost $1,000.
Oh, good. Is that a commitment? Within a week, you're going to have one?
We can see.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, we got another one here who committed. Cassie Brandley. Okay, great. Thank you. We'll communicate in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
You got my email address, right? Latonya sent my email address to everybody.
Yes, and actually, you.
Okay.
I want to add something.
Yes.
Yeah, Cheryl mentioned on the chat that we can use TikTok as well as social media. Actually, I like the idea of TikTok because personally I have like too many followers, and it's because of the dances and the funny videos. We can use this platform to grab people's attention and to address them to do something beneficial, like attending our Speechcraft or attending our Toastmasters meeting.
Wow. Okay. That's an excellent idea. Yeah. Okay. See, we got a lot of creative people here. That's what we need. Speechcraft, it's like you're free to do whatever you want, but following the same procedure, you know. And one thing sure, the important thing is you convert this non-Toastmasters to Toastmasters. Let's see, I see some other people who have not spoken yet. Maybe Cheryl Warren would want to speak. Cheryl.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Do you have any comments?
Did you ask a question? Well, yeah, as you were going through, Kathy Kess, the Media Pass District Director, is also present. But what I was going to say straight away, as you were going through training, your experience is
Cheryl, we can't hear you quite well. The audio is not working well. There's a delay. Let's see. Okay, that's okay. We can go back to you, Cheryl. We can go back to you later. We can't hear you quite well. The audio is breaking up. Okay. I just saw a question pop up. Is it Tammy? Do you have a question? Let's see, chat. How many Speechcrafters become members and remain? Okay. The question, how many Speechcrafters become members and then remain for at least 2 years? There's no way of telling. My dream is to have the list of all the members from the district from day one, so I can track those. And we don't have that capability right now unless we get connected to those people who attended the Speechcraft. So as a coordinator, your job would be to check if the person who attended your Speechcraft has joined the club. May not be the club that you suggested them to join, or may not be the same club who sent them to the Speechcraft, but it's but fair that whoever sent them to the Speechcraft should get the credit for their membership. So there's no way of knowing, but I can tell you right now, those that I coordinated in the past, they're all Toastmasters now. And they're active Toastmasters, even taking officer roles. So there were times when 2 Speechcrafts in a row, we got a group of Toastmasters. We did it, some from Big Red Toastmasters. They're now members of Big Red Toastmasters. When we did the first 3 Speechcrafts, about 50% of those who joined those Speechcrafts became members of either Big Red or the project management group. And some joined other groups too. So that's what I can call success in Speechcraft. There were others that were coordinated by, Charla coordinated a group, did a Speechcraft. Maybe Charla can tell me more what group she worked on and the success she had before.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Okay. So I had a fantastic engagement at our job in corporate America. We have these wonderful interns, and I was over the internship program. And I know we work with the leaders of tomorrow, but how can we properly prepare them to lead if they cannot communicate? You can have the brightest ideas, but if you can't properly communicate your thoughts with your team, nothing's going to happen. So our CEO, our CIO, and our CFO, they all saw the value of educating our young professionals. We had a fantastic time. And when someone put in the chat, how long does it take? It depends on your determination. Do you have an opportunity? And when you have that opportunity, do you want to really seize the day, carpe diem, and make the most of it? We had the interns, and I'm like, we want to do something for them, and everything stacked up right in line. Cynthia, I saw an email where Cynthia was having a Speechcraft training. I was able to see her the same week. The next week, and because Toastmasters support Toastmasters, I reached out to my Toastmasters connections to get our 5 people that we needed to engage our interns. We had 15 interns that were trained 1 week later. We had phenomenal success. Javier was there, Ms. Doris was there. We had the world champion of public speaking, Ramona, to come and talk with them. Deepak was there. We had a Keely there. We had so many wonderful, and Twee from our club. We had so many wonderful Toastmasters that helped and spoke to our interns. They had a fantastic time, and they knew then, okay, Toastmasters, we have to have that in our lives. Toastmasters stayed in active engagement with them the entire time they were with our McDermott internship, and we had them for a year. So that was really great. They learned how to speak, and when you see things properly aligned, there was opportunity. Look at how Cynthia was prepared to give us the training, and she gave us the information and the material right away. We adapted that for our session. We had a wonderful Speechcraft. And then the very next week, it was Wednesday, we had a Women in Tech meeting, and I was invited to speak. But instead of me speaking, I said, let's highlight our interns. So our female interns got up and they used a technique that Javier spoke and taught them, and they wowed the entire crowd. Who were the best speakers out of everyone for our Women in Tech meeting? Our young IT interns, because they went to a Speechcraft. Our interns are prepared to speak to anyone, and they did. And the Speechcraft helped them. So when they sat down with our CEO, they knew how to speak with him. When they met with our CIO, they were confident to present, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. Speechcraft can help enable someone to overcome their fears, to learn something in 1 day. It was just phenomenal. So thank you, Cynthia. Everything lined up, and the support of Toastmasters.
You
Awesome.
did a great job. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, okay. Thanks for sharing. Another person I'd like to help us, open your eyes would be someone who also did the Speechcraft in the last few months. Anne, can you share your experience, please? Anne Jorgensen.
I'm Anne Jorgensen. I'm from Toastmasters, Woodlands Toastmaster Club. It's a public club. And I do Speechcraft firstly because of DTM requirement, but more often it's because I was an ESL student. And Toastmaster really helped me speak better, engage better, gain new friends, and also more confidence. So I would like to spread Toastmaster to everybody in this world if I could. That's why I come to a Speechcraft event. And right away, so today I would like to share with you 3 challenges that I got and how I go about it. So the first challenge is how I assemble helpers. Second challenge is assemble the participant list. And the third challenge was budgeting. So for the assemble helper, right away, when I have the idea of organizing Speechcraft, all of a sudden I received Cynthia's email that she has a training the week from there. So I went to the training, and there at the end of the training, I networked with people who wants to become a coordinator or advisor and recruit them. So this event is not only important for learning about the material, but it's also the place where you can recruit your coordinator and advisor. And when I don't have enough, the rest I recruit from my club. But take full advantage of this event and have your advisor and coordinator. And second thing is assemble the audience or the participant. I have the list of all the clubs that I reach out, like Brent said, and then also BNI, networking clubs, also the school, different companies that I know that they're interested in, church, and the library. I also post it online through Eventbrite and some other online like Facebook material and Nextdoor. Then because the people need to be 18 or more and also no Toastmaster, non-Toastmaster. So each of us need to recruit more than 5 participants in order to qualify for our credit. So we have the target of 8 to 9 per person. So we recruit to that amount. So when you have the budget in your mind, do you have the target in your mind? It's easy to focus. And every week we follow up and make sure people will be there, make sure they are available to come. And for the budgeting, we vision it ahead of time, and we also plan out our financial to see what we eat, what material we need to cover, how much budget we need, and what is the break-even point. So for my pizza for them. So when I hit 15 participants, I know I'm good and break even. When I had 16 and 17, I know I can buy ribbons. I can have the colors certificate for them. And then when I hit 18 to 19, I know that we can cover our original material for the event. So with each of the participants, the budgeting helped me know where I am and how much people I can invite, how much more people I can invite. And when I do the inviting, I also keep in mind that this is the time limit for each event. I cannot have more than that. If I have more than that amount of participants, I will need more coordinator and more advisor, or else I cannot fit into my time budget. So for the budgeting, I have financial budget and I have time budget. So those are the 3 challenges that I got: assemble helper, getting participants, and also budgeting. But by the end of the event, we had a great success because I have a great help from all my advisors. We had a wonderful time seeing people never give speech before, but now they can prep in 2-3 minutes. They can prep the whole speech and give a speech. We can see some writer that have the great idea about her book, but never give speech before, and now she being able to speak up and give the introduction about her book. It's wonderful. It's very rewarding. And besides from that, we have great relationship with all the coordinator and advisor through organizing the event. So I think it's a wonderful experience, and everybody should do one.
Okay.
Thank
you,
you.
Anne. Thank you very much for sharing. That's a complete presentation right there. Major considerations, right, in coming up with a Speechcraft. I like you sharing your experience doing it, and so with Charla. Excellent.
I was just thinking if you
Now let me hear from Wendell. He's been organizing one for his club. Wendell, can you say something about how you came up organizing a Speechcraft? And I know you're gonna push through with that. It's just the coronavirus held it. So what are you doing to drive it?
Okay, well, Cynthia, first I'd like to thank you. The information that you provided is great. I went to your other trainings, like Anne and Charlotte, and we were preparing a Speechcraft. As a matter of fact, I suggested to the club, it's called Voice of Moses, that we should keep a funnel going by doing a Speechcraft every year. We haven't gotten that far yet. We started off planning to do our Speechcraft, I believe it was in March. And our audience or market was the Fallbrook Church. It's got about 2,000 members. And so we were just going to market to get at least 5 to 10 from that group. It was working out. We had planned to do it in March, but in February, we hit a snag. That's when things started, the pandemic hit. The church decided that it would close. It had no in-person meetings. And Voice of Moses Toastmaster is like a ministry of the church. And so because of that, we had to stop in-person meetings. It took us a while before we even started doing Zoom. We are doing Zoom now. And now with your suggestion, I'm going to approach the executive committee again to suggest that we should probably do our Speechcraft on Zoom.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes. Yeah, let's do that. You're going to continue with that project, right? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I know there are other projects with Precinct 1 and the church and other projects that we have right now that were postponed because of the coronavirus, but we will pursue following them up and try to see if it will work out. So anyway, did you all learn a lot from this training?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So feel free to email me if you have some questions. And I know that we're getting close to time. And I would now thank you very much for showing up, to all of you who attended. And of course, I would like to say thanks to our club growth director who made this possible. Thank you, Chandra. Thank you, Charla, for opening up and welcoming our attendees early morning. And so with Latonya Jones, thank you very much. Do you also know that Chandra helped out on the technicals, on the technology side? So they were both co-hosts. Latonya is the main host, and Chandra was helping out also on the technology side. So for all of you who, let me see, I hope I'm not missing anybody else here. Well, but I appreciate, I see Kathy Kest has joined us. Kathy, thanks for showing up. She's our past district director. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Thanks to all the dignitaries who show up. And most of all, thanks to all of you who showed up to attend this training. Let's go for it. Let's do it, right? I need some hands again for those who, and as what Anne was saying, use this situation also as a networking opportunity to get this is a way for you to get your advisors, your presenters. So this group might be your way to make your dreams come true of having a Speechcraft. So you can see the names of people on the screen. So write down their names, try to get their email addresses. Why don't you all exchange information right now and then, talk about it later as to who's gonna do what. And we're gonna have lots and lots of Speechcraft this year. Hi, Charla, you have a question?
Well, actually, I have a wonderful resource for everyone. I am currently a division director. Most people here are all Toastmasters. You have division directors. And guess what division directors have? They have Zoom accounts. Since the division, the district and the areas cannot hold a Speechcraft, but you have resources. Reach out to your division director because our accounts can hold up to 100 people. And guess what? We have breakout rooms. So if you're planning to have a Speechcraft, which is a membership building tool for your club, reach out, let us know. We're here to help you. Let us know your date, and then we can definitely make available this wonderful resource, our division Zoom account. So we can be on there, we can help you be your tech support, push people to various rooms. This is a way that okay, you don't have to look for a location, but we can try to give you the resources so you can have a successful Speechcraft event. We're here to help and serve you. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's what we're going to do. We can make things happen. Can you all commit to that? We're going to have more Speechcrafts in the coming months. I see some faces nodding. So smile on the, can you put your videos on so I can take a picture of the screen, please?
Will you let us know when all these Speechcrafts happen so that we can be there and observe and learn?
Yes, especially the very first one, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And so all of you can observe how it's done. Wonderful. Okay, so for those of you without the video, can you please show yourself so I can take a picture? There you go. Well, thank you very much, everybody. If you have questions, you have my email address, so contact me. You can call Chandra, contact Chandra also, or you have Charla and Anne and Mahina, Wendell. They're all also, they know about Speechcraft. Let me tell you that. They've been through training and they're organizing one right now. Thank you very much.
All right, before we all leave, just hold on for a minute, okay? So we have an evaluation, so I'm gonna send that in the chat. It should take like 2 to 3 minutes for you. If you can fill that up, that would really appreciate that. And also, I think this is our first virtual Speechcraft coordinator training. And it's very nice that we had at one point of time, there's 36 members who showed up. Woo-hoo. That's a lot of people for the Speechcraft coordinator. I didn't expect that there's going to be so many. That's really nice. And we have 4 people who has committed to do a Speechcraft. So if you have any questions, anything you wanted to talk about, right there, Cynthia, she has done these things again and again and again and again, okay? She had immense knowledge in the Speechcraft, anything. I think she even gave her phone number, so just go ahead, call her up, okay, whatever you need. And I like the way Charlotte said it, if you need a Zoom meeting, because the free one is only for 40 minutes, okay? So you need at least a couple of hours or more Zoom meeting, reach out to your division directors. They have an account, okay? So you can use that account. If in case that doesn't work, please reach out to Cynthia or myself and we'll arrange some form of Zoom meeting for your Speechcraft training. All right, with that, I'm gonna post the survey in the chat window. Please click on that. Pretty much every screen on that is a mandatory, so add something on that. So because your feedback is really, really important for us for future trainings. And it's also really important to Cynthia to know, how she gave the training. So please make sure you fill it up and your responses. With that, I really, really thank Cynthia, Charla. We have Latanya Jones. I don't see where she is. I think her video is off. But I think, it's a fantastic team. Everything went really, really well. All right. So that's pretty much it. And please fill up the survey. And after that, you can just leave the session. Thank you all for attending. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Put something good in there for me. I'm just kidding. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone.
You too. Have a wonderful weekend.
And Hetty, this session was recorded.
Charlotte, can we have your email address?
Sure.
Are you putting it into the chat?
Yes, I'm going to put it in the chat right now.
I remember Marie Goradia, you graduated at the time I was DTM chair.
Oh, okay.
Remember everybody were wearing the white carnations. Yeah.
Yes. Long time ago now.
Long time ago, yes.
Okay, it's toastmasterstexas@gmail.com. I put Gmails, but everyone knows it's Gmail. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay. Where did you put it, Toastmasters?
I sent it in the chat. Okay, I sent it to everyone in the chat, and it shows my name, Charla Ozen, and my email address is toastmasterstexas.
Yes, I got it.
At gmail.com.
Okay. So we're still here. Anybody has any questions? Thank you. Brent was so quiet today. Brent.
This was a great session, Cynthia. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. We learned a lot in this session.
I learned a lot, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to your Speechcrafts pretty soon. It will be easier this time now it's in Zoom, so there will be more. Thank you, Tammy.
I have a point to make. If these Speechcrafts are to be presented by or sponsored by clubs, every club probably has a Zoom or Teams